What is up, fellow bench warmers? It's a Wednesday, and welcome to your Daily Fantasy Quickie. Hey guys, what is up? How are you guys doing on this Wednesday, week 15 for our fantasy week? How are you guys doing? The theme for today is injuries. So how is your team, Komish?
My teams have been ravaged by injuries left and right, and it shows in the scores this week for my teams. I've been dominated in most of my leagues.
But it's still
okay.
early.
It's still early. Yeah.
Just the second day of the week. And sometimes we just think that we're just not off to a great start, but eventually the games would catch up. Let's talk
the
about
problem is it's the second day of the week. I've already used up all my moves in one or two of my leagues because I have that many injured players. So I have no choice.
I also hate it when I make a wrong move. Like if I added a player and then I feel like I shouldn't have done that, and then I see another player who I should have added, and then I use it up again. So
it's hard. It's hard if your league has limited moves per week. It's very hard to really make a move because you have to make sure it's the right move.
Like
but
yesterday,
right now,
like yesterday, I added Desmond Bain.
That's a good move.
Yeah, but I changed my mind.
Oh, okay.
And then I switched to Lou Williams.
Not bad either.
Yeah, but Desmond Bain played well, and I just wasted a move. So, I mean, they played pretty much well. Desmond Bain played better today than Lou Williams, although it was pretty close. But the annoying part there is that I wasted a move for it. I can't take that back. So right now I have to be cautious with the moves I make moving forward. So let's talk
We're gonna help you today. Let's
talk about injuries. First off, of course, yesterday we talked about James Harden. Today a timeline was presented, was given 10 days, isn't it?
10 days. He's gonna be out for 10 days, re-evaluated by that time. So the MRI before was clean, but right now it showed a strain. A strain is not the worst thing, but it's not the best thing. The best thing, of course, is clean. But at least it's not a tear. A tear would be 4 to 6 weeks. A strain, 10 days is the fastest he could come back, but I do not think he can come back in 10 days. I highly doubt it. And sorry, Jeremy, but
I know.
That's reality.
It's probably going to be a couple of weeks at least. 10 days is close to 2 weeks already, and I think he'll just let the 2 weeks pass before deciding on.
Let's do the math. Week 15 out, week 16 out. Start of week 17 will be 2 weeks. Well, that's the semi-final. That's a quarter-final week.
If we talk about 10 days, he should be back by week 16, somewhere there.
No, he's not going to be back by that time. Let's just put it back. It's impossible. So you should aim for week 17. So right now, I suggest an advice to managers who own Harden to plan week 15 and 16 not to have Harden in those 2 weeks. And then pray hard that he comes back in week 17. And that's the only thing you can do right now.
Yep. Well, the good thing is there's a timetable already. So for those teams, at least for those teams who still has a trade deadline and you are, the trade deadline hasn't passed and you are fighting for that 8th spot, this next 2 weeks would be crucial for you. Without Harden, that's going to be big for you guys. So, 2 weeks, that's going to be a lot. You might end up not being able to get into the playoffs by week 17, assuming that's the week you do your fantasy playoffs. Or even if it's week 18, it might be too late because that means you'll have a week to prepare, right? So
unless you have a bye, you go straight.
Well, if you're fighting for if you're fighting for a playoff spot, you chances are you don't have a bye, so you can offer. You might still be able to offer him to one of the top managers there. Of course, you're gonna be giving Harden for pretty much not the equal value already, a little bit lower in terms of value in return, but at least you're gonna make the playoffs.
Yeah, I think that's what you have to do right now. Try to survive if you're fighting for the playoffs.
Yeah, and that's survive the best first way to survive. Because some of the teams would still have until April 9, right, to before the trade deadline. So there's still time for some teams, but for the rest, well, all you gotta do is wait and pray that it doesn't screw up your fantasy season. Right, yeah. So that's how to deal with.
Well, the good news is Kevin Durant is coming back. I mean, not the good news for James Harden owners. I mean, the good news for Brooklyn
and Kevin Durant
coming back
owners
tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow. He's coming back tomorrow. So
if you're a Kevin Durant owner and you are still within that playoff picture
position,
then that's, I think, it's a pretty good sign for you.
And a great timing. If he plays well tomorrow, if he ends tomorrow and nothing happened, no aggravation, no anything, then that's good. And good and bad. Bad for you, Jeremy, and the other Harden owners, and good for the Durant owners because they're gonna ride him right now with Harden out. So that's just how it is, you know. Sometimes you get lucky, sometimes it's not your day. It's not your season.
Yeah. But yeah, there's still time. So if for the other teams, other leagues, there's still time. If your playoffs starts at week 18, you still have time. Let's talk about other injuries. Myles Turner sprained his ankle today.
He didn't come back after the third quarter.
Yeah. He didn't come back. So most likely he would be out tomorrow.
I don't know, but they said the X-ray was clean. There was no fracture. There was nothing much there. But the coach said that he sprained it pretty good. That's the exact words.
You mean pretty bad?
Well, yeah. I mean, spraining it pretty good means it sprained well. I mean, the sprain was done perfectly. I feel like he's not gonna play tomorrow. So I highly doubt the Mantas Sabonis is gonna play tomorrow. He's not been practicing yet. So they'll be out. What's
Sabonis' injury?
Ankle. Also an ankle injury.
Alright. Okay.
Yeah. So I think they'll be missing their top two big men tomorrow.
So two big men are on the radar for pickups. Jakar Sampson is one. He I think he started today.
Yes, I think. If I'm not mistaken, he started. But tomorrow, if Turner will be out, he's definitely gonna start. That's for sure.
Yep. And Goga.
Over Goga, Goga might start.
They might start. Yeah, they might start together.
I'm streaming Goga. I'm teaming Goga right now.
In one league as well. Hoping he had 3 blocks today. So if you need the blocks, he is not a very high upside player, but he can give you rebounds and blocks, I guess. So if he gets 10 rebounds. He had 4
points only today. 4.6 rebounds. I think 3 assists, 2 to 3 blocks and 2 steals. Something like that.
If he gives you 2-3 blocks and probably around 10 rebounds, that's a good ad already, I think.
You'll be happy.
Yep, you'll definitely be happy. All right, that's Myles Turner. We still have to wait for the diagnosis and the timetable in case he gets into a prolonged absence due to the injury. Ja Morant injured.
Ja Morant. Yeah, at the last. This is something, that's why I hate coaches who play their. Well, actually, I like if it's my player, I like the coaches who play their star players even in a blowout. It was a 27-point lead last few minutes, and he was still playing. Mm-hmm. And they were the ones who were up. So I don't know what the coach was thinking, Taylor Jenkins, but he got hurt all of a sudden, and he was in extreme pain and had to leave the court.
Remember the ankle injury he had?
Yeah.
was almost in a similar timeline. Like it was towards the end of the game, he tried to block a shot and
Yes.
didn't fall. Although I think that game was closer than this game, but still
But it's
it was
unnecessary. It's unnecessary. But the coach Taylor Jenkins did say that no, nothing. It's not serious. Nothing. It's actually nothing. It's just tightness in the back.
Yeah.
That maybe he's just trying to save his ass because, I mean, he has to explain to the general manager why he's playing his star player when he's up 30 in the last 3 minutes of a game. But anyway, I think at the very least he should miss tomorrow's game. At the very least, if
Yeah,
it's a
because
back
it's a
tightness
back-to-back.
thing.
So yeah.
So
Lim-
Tyus Jones is a stream for
Tyus
tomorrow.
Jones, Grayson Allen,
Desmond
Desmond
Bain,
Bain,
Dylan Brooks. All of these guys will
those
will
guys.
get
And
yeah.
like we've always said throughout the year, Memphis is a deep team. There are a lot of fantasy
Mhm.
gems out there whenever one of their star players misses a game. So
Yes.
yeah, you can pick up a lot.
And they're missing the Anthony Melton, by the way.
Yep.
Justice
Melton is
Winslow,
also
the
out.
Anthony Melton. So Kyle Anderson and the others are gonna, and Brandon Clark is also out. So there's lots of injuries now all of a
And
sudden.
who
in
else
Memphis.
is also out?
No, that's not included. He's not part of the team anymore. He hasn't played a game. If you haven't played a game, you're not part of the team yet.
Jaren
Let's not
Jackson,
mention
guys,
him.
is still
no,
out.
let's not mention him. He's not part of the team.
Anyway,
he's still out.
Ja Morant, again, this is a wait and see. Hopefully tomorrow
Mhm.
we'll get good news that he won't be out for long, too long, and
Yeah.
and just a minor thing that he can play through. All right, Evan Fournier. Just when you thought he is getting that groove already in Boston,
You know when we started this podcast and when we were saying this player sucks and then the next game he explodes. Nowadays it's the opposite. When we have someone we want you to pick up, someone we think that is gonna do well, is doing well, the next day he gets injured. It always happens to us. Now Evan Fournier, he just came from COVID protocols. He
Yep. He missed a game,
Right?
I think. Yep.
Yes, and then he was cleared, and then now after 2 to 3 games or 4 games of
He's back.
playing, I'm afraid it might actually be a positive case already right now. Right? I mean,
Yep.
how many contacts does he have that has COVID? Right? It's like
Maybe this might be a little bit more worrying. Maybe he was positive for in a test.
Where does he go? I mean, he's a French guy in Boston. I mean, is there a lot of French people
Well,
there?
maybe this is related to the earlier COVID protocol thing, wherein
But
he had contact with another person who tested positive. Now it's just him showing signs that he could have it. So
no, that's dangerous. he played a lot of games in between.
But
So that will be very
right,
dangerous.
but if you got contact, that doesn't mean that if you got cleared, right? If you got a negative, that if you got contact now doesn't mean tomorrow you're positive immediately, right?
True.
So he was the first one wherein he got into COVID protocol. It was a fast one. He missed, I think, only a game. And then he came back. So that was not, a long absence there. So we'll see. We'll see what's this all about. Hopefully it's not going to be him testing positive.
Yes,
But
let's
I
wait
just
and
have
see.
this hunch that it might be him that tested positive this time around. And
Marcus Smart, guys. Marcus Smart, if you own him, he's gonna be a big beneficiary of this news.
Yep.
They don't have a bench. I cannot recommend adding any of the bench players. Peyton Pritchard or the other guys like Semi Ojele, Grant Williams, none. Nada. No one. But Marcus Smart.
No one's
Marcus-
fantasy relevant.
Yes, Marcus
at
Smart.
least. So yeah, Evan Fournier still another wait and see guy. Nikhil Alexander Walker is going to be out for a couple of weeks at least.
It's 2 weeks.
I don't think. I'm not sure if you should still be holding on to Nikhil, considering that Lonzo's still playing, but if you have IL, maybe it's worth a hold because Lonzo is not the healthiest person or the most durable person out there.
I own him. I've been thinking if I should keep him or Gafford or Fournier. I have lots of injured players, guys. Don't worry. And I decided on dropping him and keeping Gafford. That's my final decision.
Yeah. Because Gafford is close to returning.
Actually, no. Gafford is also the same timeline with Nikhil.
No, Gafford is for evaluation for 10 days. It's almost
10 days,
a week,
but
more than a week that has passed.
Although that was just evaluation also. So he might return early. He might return earlier than Nikhil Alexander.
I think he could, assuming all goes well, Gafford can return sometime this week before the weekends.
I'm not optimistic with that. Seeing the injury when
or early next week, I guess.
Maybe next week. But I'm also not optimistic now or Nikhil Alexander Walker can come back in 2 weeks.
Yep.
The injury didn't look good. It was like the Ja Morant injury that cost Ja Morant 3 to 4 weeks. And so again, that's why that made my decision easier.
Yeah, and again, Lonzo's back playing, so it's really not and we know his value plummets a lot when Lonzo's back. So
yes,
there's really no upside here on keeping Nikhil Alexander Walker unless you have an IL slot there that's free.
Yes.
Right, so there, wait and see. Most likely a drop now.
A drop.
A drop. John Collins is still ways away.
John Collins. Yeah. I mean,
well, ways away is not a great timeline, but you're not gonna drop John Collins.
Yes, but this is my point about these updates. When John Collins got injured, we got an update of 1 week.
Yep.
And this is that week. And then when we get the update again, the coach will just say, hey, he's ways away. Nate McMillan says ways away from returning. So that means, well, why did you give us a 1 week timeline if it's gonna be ways away? At least you should have said 2 weeks. But they don't care about fantasy. We're just ranting. But I think it's gonna be out for a week or two more. In my opinion, maybe around that time frame.
So hopefully it's
okay.
Not a big loss. John Collins is, but he has been playing well before going down with the injury, so I think that's gonna hurt a bit. Let's move on to some better news, I guess. New signings today.
Okay.
Dwayne Dedmon.
Yeah, let's talk our news.
Signed with the Heat.
Yes. We were always thinking who would the Heat sign to help Bam Adebayo. And Dedmon is probably the best choice right now. After, Cousins and Drummond and Marcus and everybody else got Blake.
Yep.
Chose other teams. Dedmon is a pretty decent signing. Fantasy-wise, he's been pretty good. There were times where he's like an Alex Len. Right?
I have a story about Dwayne Dedmon. I think it was 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I needed to win a week to get into the finals. So it was semifinals. I had Dwayne Dedmon. I needed to rely on Dwayne Dedmon for my rebounds. Last playing date, I needed him to get around 10 to 11 rebounds, I think. Last playing date, a Monday. I was quite sure he's gonna get there, but he started off really slow. Like in the first half, I think he only had 3 rebounds. So I felt that I was already eliminated. I'll be eliminated because there's really no other player I can rely on because I think he was the last one to play. And then second half came. Actually, third quarter came. He probably had around 5 rebounds in the third quarter. After the third quarter, and then fourth quarter, he had 6 more. So I won it by 1 rebound. So that's
So Dwayne is your guy. I think you pick him up.
Well, that was
reward him.
I think 2 years ago when he was still in Atlanta.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Yeah. Though the comparison I have with Dwayne Dedmon is Gorgie Dieng, maybe.
True. Yeah. That's a good comparison.
An older version, I guess. I think Dedmon's older. He's been in the league for quite a while.
But he's more of an Alex Len in the sense that he will tease you with some hey, I have all these skills, and then suddenly gonna disappear after a while.
Yep.
Yeah, right.
So is he
not
an ad?
relevant for me. No. For me, unless Bama Debayo gets injured or something, he's an ad. But now he's not.
All right. So
maybe deep leaguers, 26 teams and up. You know, you can try him out. But no.
Well, just forget about Deadmond being there for the moment. But observe, see what happens.
Yeah.
Maybe he'll get some playing time and he gets to be relevant. The Lakers signed another wing, Ben McLemore. He was waived by Houston, right? He was
yes,
cut by Houston.
He was waived by Houston. Yeah, correct.
So the Lakers picked him up. Is he going to be fantasy relevant?
In deeper leagues, possibly. He's not bad player. I mean, even in Houston, if he was given the minutes, he could contribute. Right now, is Taylor Horton Tucker is playing very well the past 3 games.
Mm-hmm.
KCP will still be the starter. He's probably gonna have to overtake Wesley Matthews, which I'm confident he can. But there's Alex Caruso. There's a lot of players there, and I'm not sure he's gonna get consistent minutes. What I think the Lakers are doing is like what they're gonna do with Marc Gasol, with Drummond when Drummond comes back. They'll have a lot of players, a lot of decent players that are not good, really all-star players. But sometimes they're gonna use this player, sometimes they're gonna use that player.
Yep.
So no, I'm not interested in Ben McLemore if that's gonna be the case.
Yeah, and really in the Lakers side, there's really not much fantasy value.
Yes.
From the players there, other than maybe Schroeder, Harrell, Kuzma. That's pretty much it, right? That's the list.
Schroeder, Harrell, Kuzma,
Markieff, one of our waiver specials.
Drummond, if he comes back.
Well, if Drummond plays, obviously Drummond would be the top guy there.
But how long does it take your nail to grow back?
No, it takes a while, but
my God, I hope you're not eating right now. But I was thinking, I mean, when will this guy play? Maybe when his nail grows back. So I don't know when that is.
It would take some time before that grows back, but
okay.
I don't know. Maybe
a
couple more games. It was reported that he'll be out 1 to 2 games. It's been I think this is the 3rd game he'll miss. So maybe he's getting close there. He will eventually. Probably within the week he'll probably play.
Okay.
2 players who were signed recently, and we've talked about them in our past quickies, played today. DeMarcus Cousins and Isaiah Thomas. DeMarcus Cousins played for the Clippers. He played off the bench. Well, not fantasy relevant.
Who do you like among the 2 of them? Who would you pick up?
I like Isaiah. Isaiah scored 10 points today in the first half.
10 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists.
Yeah.
And 4 turnovers. Can you believe that?
and those 10 points, I think he got it all or mostly in the first half. So
yeah.
The second half was pretty much nothing from him. Isaiah Thomas might have more playing time.
So you're gonna go Isaiah Thomas?
Yeah. But I wouldn't be surprised if DeMarcus comes and gives you a few good games here and there.
My answer. I told you I have a fetish for Isaiah Thomas, so that's my answer. But Cousins would be like what Whiteside is now for Sacramento. He's probably gonna have those 6 points, 4 rebounds, 8 points, 5 rebounds. Some 2 blocks here and there. Something like that. Yeah. Until Ibaka comes back. When Ibaka comes back, then he's gone. I don't think he's gonna be even worth anything. But right now,
he'll probably be cut. They won't probably sign him. Extend his 10-day contract. Isaiah Thomas played well, and there's really nothing there in the bench of New Orleans.
Yeah,
there's no one.
Kyle Lewis is also injured.
Yeah.
Now he's gone, as we said. So JJ Redick is out. As I said yesterday, there's an opportunity for him. He looked good, a little fat, but good.
Were you able to watch the game?
I saw the highlights. I'm a fan, so I have to see the highlights.
Right.
I looked at it, and he looked a little heavy.
The problem with highlights is it's always good. It's never bad, right? So,
well, I said he looked good in playing, but his physical appearance is not
that doesn't
good.
look good. Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Is he worth an ad at this point? For me personally, yeah, maybe stream him, but
yeah.
If there are other players out there, because I've been seeing, players like Desmond Bain still on the waiver wire, players like Grayson Allen still there. I think they are of higher priority than Isaiah Thomas.
Isaiah Thomas will have a 20-point game before he gets waived. That's
Again.
my prediction.
Or before the 10-day contract ends.
Yeah.
That's a possibility. All right. Speaking of players returning, or at least returning back to some old form and some form that we kind of expected or expect them to play in. These are the resurgent players who went from being great fantasy options to not so good fantasy options now, and then now being great fantasy options once again. Let's talk about the easier ones. Enes Kanter. Well, obviously Nurkic was out, so this was easy...
if you got him for free, people dropped him, you got him for free, you should be ecstatic right now. Yusuf Nurkic owners like Jeremy and I
should be worried.
Oh my God, knee soreness is out. I don't know. I hope he
worried.
comes back soon. We also own Fournier in that league. We also own John Collins in that league. We also own Malcolm Brogdon in that league. We're one more and we're bingo. We own Mitch Robinson, so there, bingo.
The only good part is it's a roto league, so it's at least we don't lose on a week-to-week basis.
But it's insane. The luck that we have there.
Yeah, well.
But going back to Kanter, yes, he is going to be very relevant whether Nurkic comes back or not. If Nurkic comes back and plays, and then Kanter gets a 12-minute game, don't drop him again, please. Because
Nurkic is not 100%, and I don't think he is.
Yes.
He is going to be until maybe week 18 or 19. Although he has been playing okay, Nurkic hasn't been too bad. It's just that he is not healthy, and Kanter would be your insurance policy.
Yes.
Especially if you're a Nurkic owner. You should not drop Kanter. He is even, I think, a better option than maybe a Nerlens Noel right now, or a Moses Brown, because he's gonna be more consistent. Even in the backup role, right?
Definitely. Enes Kanter over Moses Brown, over Kevin Porter Jr., over Pokusevski, over all of those, shiny new toys that the fantasy managers are excited about. Kanter is the old reliable.
Yep.
I'll pick him over all of those guys.
And even in a bench role, he has been playing well with the Blazers. All right. Another player, Kyle Anderson, of course, with the injuries that Memphis has. Kyle Anderson is the guy that can really help.
The resurgence of Kyle Anderson started when Justice Winslow got hurt.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly that point. If you look at the box scores when Justice Winslow started to got injured, that's where Kyle Anderson, started to get hot again. So
and this year overall, he has been really good. So better at the beginning compared to lately, but still good, right? Yeah. The early start, or the good start early in the season, was kind of flukish in the sense that no one really expected his role to be that way. But now he has been more stable, but still a good contributor. I remember before we started the season, he was part of the drop. What was the segment there? Draft him.
Draft him.
Or forgot. Keep him or what? Watch him.
Watch him.
Right?
Yeah.
So he has always been a do not draft person, or at least do not draft player early on, but he proved us wrong early in the season. Kevin Huerter, is back to fantasy relevance.
Kevin Huerter, you should add him back. You should add Kevin Huerter back. And of course, connected to DeAndre Hunter, connected to John Collins, connected to all of these players getting injured. But he's been playing better after a point where he kind of got overshadowed by Bogdanovic. Now they're both playing well. So both of these guys are now a tag team resurgent tag team for the Hawks, who are playing very well even with the injuries. So you should pick him up. You should pick Kevin Huerter up. They have a good schedule coming up. All
right, so Kevin Huerter back to an ad. And the last player, I guess, is one of the more talked about player, Lauri Markkanen, played well today. I think he had 15
points, 6 rebounds, a steal, and a block. And I played him in one of my Roto leagues today because I saw that Daniel Tays was not with the team. Not with the team, and I think there's a personal family issue or something. When Tays is out, I think Markkanen will have value. So I also picked him up in another league because I don't know if Tays will come back soon or not. So if Tays is out, they only have basically Tad Young, Markkanen, and Vucevic. So he will have enough usage and minutes at that point. But if Tays comes back, then.
So there was a question earlier from one of our followers. I forgot his name, but he was asking if he should be dropping or keeping Markkanen or Dorian Finney-Smith. And I initially told him Dorian Finney-Smith. It was before this game. He said he was in a 16-team league, 9-cat. I told him then to just watch what Markkanen does today, and that might change our minds because he played well today. I didn't face was.
That's still correct. Your advice was still correct in my opinion. I mean, Dorian Finney-Smith overall, I think, is still better than Lauri Markkanen. So, yeah.
Yeah, and
I'm still Dorian Finney-Smith.
He still didn't get much minutes. Markkanen just got 21 minutes today. Still not a lot though. The game was a blowout, but yeah, for me, I think it's still not a lot. But well, we'll see what happens. Hopefully, he gets a string of good games, so he can be streamed. I guess if he gets hot for a bit, just ride the current performance and see what happens from there on. All right, those are our resurgent players. Let's move on to our waiver wire specials. There are just a couple. Markieff Morris has been playing well, actually. He is in a couple of my teams. He's okay. He's not. The good thing about him over the past few weeks is that he's been consistent.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. I mean, Marcus Morris is the guy that's been owned more in more leagues, but Marcus Morris is a hit or miss. He has games where he scores 20 plus points, and then he has games like today where he just scores nothing. Markieff Morris has been more consistent, especially the past 6, 7, 8 games.
Yep.
And as long as Drummond is out, I think he's okay. If Drummond comes back, maybe it doesn't affect him if they won't play Montrezl Harrell at the power forward position. It might not affect Markieff Morris. I'm sorry. But
Marcus Morris has a higher upside.
Yes.
But his consistency is not good. I think a big part of that reason is that he's playing with Kawhi, he's playing with Paul George. So it's a matter of who's hot. Today, it was Paul George who was hot. And that's why I think Marcus Morris didn't get much opportunities to score. Markieff, on the other hand, has been more consistent because there's really nothing there with the Lakers. I mean, there's really not much player there who can score or who can take over games. And he's scoring around 14, 15 points a game, probably a couple of threes. And the good thing is he's rebounding around 7 or 8 rebounds per game. So so those are solid numbers for a player that you picked up off the waiver wires. So Markieff Morris, in case he is still there. Bobby Portis, who has been dropped in a lot of my leagues. There was a question a while ago. I saw if they're gonna use a their number one waiver priority for Bobby Portis.
No, no, not that level yet. But
okay, I have a question. Like at this point, you are number one in your waiver priority, right?
Yeah.
And the season's about to end. When do you use it?
It's like this. If you're number one in your waiver priority and you are in the playoffs, you're in the playoffs. When playoff time comes, managers will make tough decisions and tough cuts. Especially like the last few parts of the week, they're down 4 or 5. I mean, if I'm down 4 or 5 in the quarterfinals, well, why would I keep some player like, I don't know, maybe Enes Kanter or maybe Colin Sexton? Those players, maybe I have to drop them because the last day I want to have maximum number of games. If you're number one in the waiver wire and you're still alive, then you pick up those players. Then hey, your team suddenly stronger. So Bobby Portis is just not high upside enough. Although I don't know what's wrong with Giannis, he could be load managed a little bit during games and with rest also in between games. So Portis will be standard league worthy at this point, but not number one waiver priority. Get that thing out of here. What kind of a question is that?
Well, maybe, I don't know, but yeah, I just saw it in one of the forums. So there, Bobby Portis, an ad, definitely playing well. Even with Giannis, I don't think he's still well. There was a stretch where he was playing really bad, so I could understand why he was dropped.
I dropped him actually, but I picked him up again, so I'm happy.
So and if he's dropped on a struggling, if he's dropped as he struggles, no one would really pick him up.
Yes,
he's not the type of player wherein people would go gaga and run. Try to add him and use their waiver priority on him. So not worth your waiver priority, but definitely worth an ad at least for the next few weeks. This week at least. All right, that's it for our Daily Fantasy Quickie. Hopefully tomorrow will be a better day. No injuries, I hope.
Don't say that. We have a curse, man. Don't say that. I mean, oh my God, I'm gonna wait for tomorrow. It's gonna be a bloodbath.
Oh, man.
Jeremy just said he hopes tomorrow will be a better day.
Yeah. Should I add Isaiah Stewart now?
Yeah. Add him.
Let's see who am I gonna drop. Okay, at least no one picked him up. So I might take him up. Although he was not as good today. 9 points, 8 rebounds, not too bad as well. Anyway, that's it, guys, for our Daily Fantasy Quickie. We'll see you again tomorrow for another Quickie. Bye, guys.